Good morning, everybody. I've got 11 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and kick things off. I want to thank you all for joining us today for this special session, especially about the Ready Now preference form and exclusions. We're going to turn off our videos during the presentation, but we'll turn them back on again as we take questions at the end. We'll ask that you type in your remaining questions into the Q&A section at the end. So to review our agenda today, first, we'll cover the preliminary residence preference form. We'll talk about exclusions, Appendix A for the residence preference form, and then we'll discuss additional resources. So since our first informational meeting on Ready Now, we've received very helpful feedback on how we can assist you in making decisions about when to join Ready Now and how to best assist applicants in choosing their preferred residences. Based on that feedback, we will have applicants submit a preliminary residence preference form with their application. We'll show this form now as we discuss it. On this form, you are going to select the type and size of residences that you will be considering for your future home at WCBR. With this information, we'll be able to tell each applicant not only how many people applied for Ready Now and what their new priority placement is, but also approximately how many people are interested in the same residence types as they are. You can see at the bottom, we have included a place for you to list up to 3 exclusions. We can go forward to the next slide. An exclusion is a significant characteristic that would be a deal breaker for you. Things such as a double sink vanity in the primary bathroom. We've heard on more than one occasion from couples that one of the secrets to a happy marriage is not sharing a sink. Sounds like a pretty important topic for some folks. Most people do not have a floor preference, but for some, a first floor apartment is very important, and for others, it is not desirable. So that could be an exclusion. If a first floor apartment is a must-have for you, you could write first floor only as an exclusion. Remember that we will be discussing your preferences with you before you sign your Ready Now deposit agreement. We will make sure that we are absolutely clear about any exclusion you list. Also, not important to everyone, but some folks want to face a certain direction or not face a certain direction. These types of differences may impact the amount of light or direct sunlight a residence gets or doesn't get. If this type of preference is important to you, it can be listed as an exclusion. An important note is that members will not be able to list residence preferences by specific addresses, thereby excluding addresses not selected. Remember that the number one reason that WCBR is implementing Ready Now is for operational efficiency. It has been specifically designed with that goal at the center. If you have already submitted an application for Ready Now, but have not submitted the preliminary preference form, please do so as soon as possible. Contact our marketing office if you need a copy. Another update we've made based on your feedback is a change to the residence preference form that will be included with your Ready Now deposit agreement as Appendix A. We have changed this appendix to be more comprehensive. This form allows you to select the specific floor plans that you desire. We have listed every type of apartment and cottage that is on our campus. We have also included on this form the quantity of each floor plan that we have. In addition, as you can see, some residences do not have a floor plan available. Keep in mind, you will not be listing this in order of preference. You will check each floor plan type that you would accept when offered. We will call you for any floor plan that you select when it becomes available. Now, before I go back to the presentation slides, I want to draw your attention to the note at the top of the preference form. Note, floor plans may vary due to modifications to the original design. Each time we get back a residence to remarket, one of the first things we do is evaluate the condition of the residence. It will be turned over to the new resident in like new condition and up to our current standards. The floor plans that we have are the original plan drawn by the architect when each building was being constructed. Over time, we may have made changes to the actual apartment or cottage that is different than what is shown on the floor plans. For example, let's look at the floor plan for the Blue Ridge Ivy.
Thank you, John. The Ivy floor plan shows a more closed-in kitchen. Over time, we have opened the kitchen up so that it is a U-shape with a breakfast bar open to the living dining space. Also, some Ivies have a closed-in, like on the floor plan, while others have been open to the living room. As we meet with you to sign your Ready Now deposit agreement, we will also discuss your comprehensive preference sheet to discuss these types of things. If a closed den is a must-have for you, you will want to include no open den as one of your 3 exclusions. To help you with these decisions both now and ongoing, we will be providing you with a variety of resources. We have mentioned in our previous Ready Now informational sessions that we expect to have about 24 residences that turn over each year on average. We can give you a breakdown of what that looked like last year. Our actuary partner, A.V. Powell, provides us with projections each year of how many residences will come back to us to remarket. Last year's projection was 24, but we closed out the fiscal year with 26. Of those, this is how they broke down into categories: 9 Monticello, 12 Blue Ridge, 3 Pantops, and 2 cottages. This may help you as you consider when is the right time for you to join Ready Now. We will send you an email with the recording of this webinar. With that email, we will include all floor plans that we have, pricing, and the building layouts for Blue Ridge and Pantops. Unfortunately, there is no rendering of the Monticello layout available that shows that building by apartment. But we're happy to assist with that information about the Monticello building as requested. In addition, moving forward, we will conduct an open house for every residence that we have gotten back. Once each has been renovated, an open house will occur for that residence exclusively for Ready Now members. In addition, we will be building a video library of virtual tours for residences. Some of you may remember that during the COVID time period, we were not able to tour folks for a while. So we began making video tours available for residences as they became available to us. Here's an example of one of those videos. This is an Afton apartment in the Blue Ridge building. The video will show you from the front door and all the way through the apartment. Some of the residence videos you will see may differ from the floor plan. This one is a good example of how we open up the kitchen. It'll turn around and show you the kitchen in just a moment. As you can see, we have opened the wall to the kitchen for a more open concept. On the floor plan, it shows just a pass-through. We can discuss any of these types of differences with you. As we get residences back, we will add to our library over time. At this time, we'd like to invite you to type questions in the Q&A section, and we'll share our videos again for you. All right, I'm just trying to get on my Q&A. All right, let's see. Question, can you have a double sink installed in your new apartment if none exists? If so, who would finance this upgrade? John, you want to take that?
I've got that. Thank you very much for that question. As you see from the floor plan that Wendy just showed you and the video, we are making changes to apartments. And as those changes happen, a double sink or double vanity might be one of those. There's a couple of floor plans where we will do that every single time because it makes good sense to do so. There are some that it is not able to be done that way just because of plumbing, the amount of space. So we're making changes to homes, as Wendy also mentioned with the Ivy opening up the kitchen. So we could let you know with particular floor plans what that design would be and whether a double sink could keep that happy marriage intact.
And I just want to dive down a little bit into that too. So these are choices that we are making and decisions that we're making for apartments that is covered under the renovation that we provide. A resident may not be able to request this type of a change. So that's not an option. We're not offering that type of request. Bill and Christine ask, under the new residence preference form, can you select any number of acceptable units? And the answer is yes, you can pick as many as you like. In fact, the more you pick, probably the shorter your time frame will be. The more specific you are and the limited amount of choices that you would accept, the longer your time frame would be. So I would encourage you to be broad in the preferences of those residences that you would consider, that you would accept when offered. Rachel asks, are pictures of floor plans available online?
So on our website, Rachel, we probably have about a third from each of the buildings and cottages. But as Wendy mentioned, as just a few slides ago, we are going to be emailing you a recording of this webinar today, as well as all floor plans, as well as building layout so that you can see how they're spread out as best as we can. If there's anything any of you would need in particular that you don't find, then just reach out to Wendy and I and we'll help you get it.
Heidi asked, when will appointments begin for applications? Great question. We plan to begin in January calling for appointments with people. So far, we've received about 100 applications, so it's going to take us some time to do that, so bear with us. We will be sending out a communication to you at the beginning of January with the compiled data regarding the information that I'm sorry, we're not sending an email. When we do call you to schedule your application, we will tell you how many people applied, how many people are ahead of you on the list who applied in terms of priority placement, and also how many people are ahead of you who want the same things that you do. So we'll be doing that when we call you starting in January. Anonymous asked, how should exclusions be worded?
Wendy and I were laughing about this last week because one came in with a double negative. And so we just want to make sure that the way you're wording it is very clear for us. If we have any questions, then we will certainly either reach out to you or during the meeting to sign your agreement. We're going to make sure there's no question about what your preferences are. as well as what your exclusions are. Try to be as specific as possible. We mentioned if you want ground floor, then it should say only ground floor or nothing above the ground floor, depending on how you want to word it. And again, we'll just clarify because we want to make sure we understand exactly what your wishes are.
All right, Judith asked, can we get a list, the list you just showed of particular apartments and how many there are of them? Particular apartments and how many there are of
No,
them.
I've got so
Okay.
Judith, so we will be sending out in addition to again what we just sent out for floor plans, building layouts, that form will be included so that you'll know how many of each different apartment type there are.
All right. And then questions about logistics and timeframes. At what point do Ready Now prospective residents need to go through the process of demonstrating their financial and medical ability to become independent residents? That happens when you are offered an apartment and accept. We are going to start the process of having you turn in an updated financial application, and we'll give you a medical application at that point. So not at the time that you're signing your Ready Now agreement, but when you are moving forward with a life care agreement. Next question, does a particular document show whether an apartment has a washer dryer or more specifically not have one?
So the easiest answer is all cottages, all Pantops, and all Blue Ridge apartments will have washers and dryers. And with the exception of just less than a handful, in Monticello, they will have a washer and dryer. There's only a couple that we can't put one in just based on concrete floors, plumbing, etc. If you have a specific question about those tend to be the smaller apartments in Monticello. Wendy and I can tell you which ones would not have them.
All right. Rachel asked, when will the video tours you already have be available? That's a good question, Rachel. Not sure yet. I need to have to figure out how to build the library. And so we're working on that. It's an IT question. And so we're working with our IT department to figure out the best way to make that information available. So stay tuned. Julian asks, on the preference form, can you choose more than one type of residence? Yes, you can choose as many as you like. We answered that. Okay, Bill asks, how does Ready Now work with Early Advantage?
They are two completely separate entities or different programs. Early Advantage is securing one's health care into the future, and Ready Now is to escalate your name closer to the top of the list for people who want to move now and not waiting into the future. They each have their own fee structures. Again, we can go through those in detail. If you're interested in joining Early Advantage, which we launched last fall, there is a waiting list for that, but Wendy and I can provide you with an application to get your name on the wait list. And again, Ready Now and Early Advantage are separate. Ready Now is moving you closer to the top of the list. Early Advantage has no play in changing the Compass Club order.
All right. Robert asked, when do we get the detailed preference forms, and is that due by December 31st? You will get the detailed preference form for you to take a look at and work on as a draft when we send you the recording of this webinar. It is not due by December 31st. The only things that are due by December 31st are the Ready Now application and the preliminary preference form. Those are the only two things needed to be turned in by December 31st. And again, we'll be sending you the detailed preference form just for you to work on as a draft. When you meet with us one-on-one to sign your Ready Now agreement, we will have you fill out the appendix as part of the Ready Now agreement. All right. I think this is a question about specifying appliance preferences on this form. You will not be specifying appliance preferences on this form, and we can talk to you about appliances at another time. Okay. Question about, can exclusion of floors 1 through 3 in Blue Ridge count as one exclusion? I would say excluding any floor except the fourth floor. But keep in mind, you're really limiting yourself if you exclude that many apartments. John, how many apartments are located on the fourth floor of the Blue Ridge building
I
approximately?
believe there's 12.
Right. So you're taking yourself from 120 some apartments to just 12. So keep that in mind. All right. How soon will we get the recording? I disconnected. Oh, sorry about that, Charlie. We will work on getting that set up today. So I would say by the latest tomorrow, but maybe today. We'll work on it as soon as we're done here. And Sarah asked, are the forms being sent out today? All the new forms. So today we'll be sending out the detailed preference sheets. We'll be sending the building layouts, the floor plans, and the pricing, and the recording of the webinar. Those will be sent out either today or tomorrow. Okay. Robin asked, can specific cottage floor plans be an exclusion?
In general, I would say yes. As an example, there are 2 floor plans for Albemarle cottages. You might list one as an exclusion because you only want the other. Same thing with Jefferson cottages. You might want a 2-bedroom den, but those are going to be on the preference form. So you should be able to select the ones that you want and not select the ones, so you won't be using up one of your exclusions for that purpose.
All right, here's the question. Can you explain how the priority order for getting an apartment will be determined and how our current Compass Club priority applies? Also, does it matter when we turn in the Ready Now application? Okay, so if you're turning in your Ready Now application within the month of this December, you will be, your application will be ranked in the order of your current priority number on Compass Club. So it doesn't matter at what point in December that you turn in your application, you'll be ranked in terms of your current priority placement. After December 31st, any applications received will be added in the order that they are received underneath those received in December. All right, Lynn asked, will you provide feedback on the number of folks expressing preferences for various types before we commit to the contract?
That's another good question, Lynn. Thank you. So what we're going to do is to call everyone in January, depending on how many applications we get. And Wendy and I will share with you what your new status is on Ready Now and approximately how many households are in front of you for what you're also asking for. So we'll go through those details so you'll know where you stand. It'll be different than where it is on Compass Club. But from that initial preference sheet, we're going to be looking at those buckets based on buildings, cottages, apartments, etc., and give you our best estimate as to how many are in front of you before anybody signs their agreement.
All right, a couple questions about whether or not appliances and cabinet styles can be listed as exclusions. That's a great question. The answer is no, that would not be an exclusion. The exclusions are similar to what we noted. They're sort of bigger ticket items than colors and styles and appliances and things like that. Mitch asked, please give everyone several weeks in January to study all the floor plans and building layouts before beginning to schedule Ready Now deposit. So you want to handle that, John?
Sure. So as Wendy mentioned, probably in the next 24 hours, you're going to get an email with all those floor plans. We do know the holidays are quickly approaching, but you've got half of December. We're going to start making phone calls probably the first full week of January once we have everything in order, and then schedule those based on everyone's availability. We don't want to delay this any further than we need to because all applicants need to be reached. And then we're going to schedule appointments for all of them to come in with as much information as possible for you to make the best decisions.
All right. John asked, would you clarify whether we can express preferences as specific addresses, and if not, why? You cannot exclude specific addresses, as we noted earlier in the presentation. And just with the reminder that the reason that we are starting the Ready Now program is for operational efficiency. And so if we have every applicant, every Ready Now member express specific addresses, and we have 200 applicants, let's say, when all the applications come in, that would be nearly impossible to manage in an efficient manner. So we are giving applicants, members, Ready Now members, the opportunity to select specific floor plans, but not specific addresses. All right, here's a timing question. If 24 units on average turnover each year, doesn't that imply that the wait list is about 30 years? Or if there are, say, 200 on the ready list, the further back on the list, are we looking at 7 or 8 years?
So that's another one where Wendy and I, unfortunately, do not have a crystal ball that will tell us what's becoming available. We've had several apartments, same floor plan, become available within months of each other. And then we've gone a year or two before a particular cottage becomes available. That would not have been any different whether we use the Compass Club or Ready Now. And some of those folks, unfortunately, probably are going to join Ready Now, and they may also decline their first offer, in which case we can work our way through that list. This is brand new for us. So we don't have any of our own experience. We've definitely leaned on other communities that have run this program successfully. So we'll be keeping in touch with people. There was one year Wendy and I were budgeted 30 homes, and we had 39 turnover. 24, 25 is about the average, but Mother Nature's going to let us know what comes to us next, and we will start making those phone calls, and that process will go a lot faster than it is currently.
All right, next question. Can we mail in our application and preliminary preference sheet? And if so, to what address? You would email it. Sorry, I think I misread that. Yes, you can either mail it to either John or myself, or you can use the general marketing email address, which is mktg@wc-br.org. If you have John or my emails handy, just reply to one of those emails and you can send it to us. So whatever is easier for you. When will the Ready Now agreements be available to review with our financial planner and attorney prior to signing this agreement?
So it has already been sent out to all Compass Club members, but not sure who submitted this question. But if you wouldn't mind reaching out to Wendy or I, we can send that to you directly. The only thing that will change is the Appendix A. We'll be changing from the more broad categories to the more specific homes.
Anonymous asking whether there's a webinar about the Ready Now program. Yes, and a lot of these questions are answered in that webinar. So again, reach out to either John or myself, whoever you're working with, and we'd be happy to send you a copy of that webinar. The webinars have also been emailed to all Compass Club members, so you have the recording somewhere in your inbox too. Kath asked, will meetings be in order of Compass Club priority? Probably, but then it may work out that it'll be a little bit out of order. We will not be starting the Ready Now program officially until all of the folks who applied in December have their agreement signed. So that's once we have everybody's agreement signed, that's when it will launch officially. John asked, will you try to change over all bathtubs to showers?
The answer is yes.
All right, we have time for just another couple questions. Judith, how are you sending this stuff out? By email? Yes, it will come to an email from the Westminster Canterbury email. And then final question, Mitch asks, also, how much time will a Ready Now applicant have between your phone call and the meeting in order to evaluate the priority status, which we won't learn until the phone call?
That'll probably depend mostly on our calendar and yours, Mitch. We're going to call you, give you the information, check both of our calendars, but we would like to do it at all of our earliest conveniences.
All right. Well, thank you so much. There were a lot of questions that came in that we couldn't get to, but hopefully maybe rewatch this webinar, rewatch the Ready Now webinar if you could. And then if you still have some outstanding questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here to help you. And so with that, we're going to sign off. We hope you have a great day. Hope this was helpful to you, and look for our email either today or early tomorrow with lots of information for you as you make this decision and fill out your forms and all of that. So have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll sign off. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.